Hello, I'm going to be redoing some of the button tutorial. I've had some questions about it, and one of the things I skipped over was how do you change colors of the button. Um, to start with, I'm going to go ahead and start with this, say a round shape. All right, so I'm going to draw my button, and I'll maybe add a different highlight. And this is part of another tutorial, but I figure I'll do it again just so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to fill the opposite side here and drag it over. And then if I draw another shape and then fill it maybe with a different color like red, and I'll fill this back on the opposite side again. What that does is it kind of gives me a 3D effect on my button. Okay, so I want to convert this to a button. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to do Insert, Convert to Symbol. I'm going to make it a button, and it doesn't really matter what you call it. You can call it George or whatever. I'm just going to call mine Button. I know it's exciting. Okay, so now if I wanted to change the color of it, it looks like I can't do anything to it. If I try to take a paintbrush and paint on it, it paints behind it, but it doesn't paint on the button. One of the things I have to do now is double click that button, and you'll see it takes me inside. Alright, so now instead of being in scene, I'm in the button. Okay, and I've got 4 boxes here: up, over, down, and hit. Up is what it's going to look like when people aren't doing anything to it. Over is what it's going to look like when somebody moves their mouse over it. Down is what it's going to look like when somebody's actually clicking on it. And hit is what it's going to look like. It's not what it's going to look like. Hit is the area that you can actually click. So for example, I can make just the middle area clickable. So let me go ahead and go with over. I'm going to insert a keyframe here by Insert, Keyframe. A shortcut to that is F6, by the way. Now I can click off of that and then click in here again, and I can choose a color. For example, maybe I want it to be green when somebody moves their mouse over it. Okay, I'm going to go to down and hit my Insert Keyframe, and I'm going to try a different color, but you see I forgot to deselect, so I'm going to undo. And I'm going to select just the middle area, and then select my blue. Okay, but I don't want to just leave it like that. I'm going to also maybe try to highlight the opposite side. And that's going to kind of look like you're clicking down on it. At least I hope. The other thing I want to do is here on the hit area, I'm going to do Insert, Keyframe, click off of it. But I'm going to go ahead and delete these areas here that I don't want to be clickable. I want people to just click on the middle part. Alright, now what I want to do is I'm going to go back to my scene, and you can see it looks like it did before. Now, if I was to go to Control, Test Movie, you can see the shortcut to this is Control Enter. It pops up like this. Now, if I move my mouse over it, it turns green. If I click it, it turns blue and goes the opposite direction. Kind of looks like I'm pushing down on it. Now, what I can do now that this is its own symbol, I can move it around. I can scale it. Whoops, don't want to grab that. Okay, so I have an instance of that now. If I was to open my library, right there, I can drag another instance of that out and resize it. It really doesn't have to be exactly a certain size. In fact, you can have a series of buttons that are different sizes. Drag another one out. And another. Okay, so now I've got this set of buttons here, and if I test my movie, again, Control, Test Movie. Okay, so you can make a real neat little interface here. In fact, you could get creative and have some other things pop up, and we'll do that in a later exercise with interfaces. Okay, so now that I have this background here, what I may want to do is add another layer for underneath, and maybe I want to just draw something with my pencil, such as an outline around it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to fill it with a color. So now you can see it doesn't affect anything here, but when I play my movie, it kind of becomes part of a unit. Okay, so that's a basic button tutorial, and I hope it's useful. At least answers some of your questions. Thanks a lot.